Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have an interesting episode for you guys you definitely want to stick around for, so make sure you go and like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now, as y'all are fully aware, I've been saying for days and weeks now, we are living in the prisoner of the moment era. The best thing that ever happened in today's world was the thing that just happened 5 minutes ago. For whatever reason, the memory spans of sports fans seems to be getting shorter and shorter, and because of that, it is causing people to say all kinds of ridiculous. I've seen it all. We usually conduct these experiments on our channel. We just put up a poll, and I put up a poll. I'm like, let me see what people are going to say, and you will be surprised at some of the things some people say. Given the topic, right? Given the topic, people say things like, people have been saying things like, if Stephen Curry wins his 4th championship and his first Finals MVP, he'll be neck and neck with LeBron James. And I said I thought that notion was totally laughable then, and I still think it's laughable now. If you think that if Stephen Curry wins his 4th championship, all of a sudden him and LeBron James are neck and neck, you want something hot. These guys are not close, in my personal opinion. I'm sorry. We all know that LeBron is a better player minus the rings. Take the rings, throw them on the ground. Take the accomplishments, throw them on the ground. Who the two between these two players who are better? It's easy to see that it's LeBron by a good amount. There's a good distance, right? It's a good distance, right? So I've seen LeBron really take it to Steph, and he had no help. So I personally just think that that's a total total joke. I've heard some people like Shannon Sharp, who's been caught up in the prison of the moment, basically saying, oh, if he wins his next championship, he goes in the top 10. And I've yet to hear who's the guy that he's going to remove out of the top 10 to be able to, put Stephen Curry in the top 10. But however, recently, as y'all know, Draymond Green made some comments on the platform called The Volume about Stephen Curry and KD. For those of you guys who missed those comments, we're going to play some of them because it has a lot to do with what we're talking about here today. So take a listen to what Draymond Green had to say there.
When you hear opinion shows and people in my space say that he needs an MVP in the finals to validate it, is it ridiculous? Do you not hear it? What do you make of that?
What I make of it, Colin, is that people need shiny objects for themselves to be able to they need those shiny objects for them to be able to analyze what's going on. They can't see what you just said, which is Steph could definitely have finals MVPs because Steph has the ball. Like Steph is coming down the court and he's calling sets. And he's like, oh, we got a mismatch with Kevin Durant. We're going to get Kevin Durant the ball every single time. He can hijack the game and no one's going to say a word. If Steph Curry comes down and he calls for a pick and roll every play, nobody's going to say a word, including Kevin Durant, by the way. Nobody's going to say anything. That's not who he is. That's not what he does. And so when you watch a game and Kevin Durant was absolutely incredible in those finals runs. As you know, you watched it. We all watched it. Kevin Durant was absolutely insane. Steph Curry got double teamed probably 7 times the amount that KD did in a given series. So when you watch those games and you say, his numbers could be a little down, he's facing a double team. And by the way, this isn't a double team from the Orlando Magic. This is a double team from a team that's playing in the finals, which we know if you're in the finals, you're going to have a good defense. These are real double teams. This ain't some team that's throwing together a game plan the night before and then rolling their players out there that can't play half dead. This isn't that. This is elite teams throwing elite defenders at guys. And yet the guy will still averages, I'm not sure what his finals average is, but I'd be willing to bet my bottom dollar is north of 23 points. And so the games and the impact that he has on the game, if you don't understand basketball and thoroughly understand, not understand a stat sheet, if you don't understand basketball, which most people don't in your space, then you're going to come out and you're going to say, he needs to validate that by a finals MVP because that's all you can see.
So those were his comments, right? And those comments caused Kevin Durant himself to come out on Twitter and basically say, listen, I 100% disagree with what you were saying. And yesterday on Get Up via Legion Hoops, CJ McCollum also, gave his 2 cents on on that take. And here's what he had to say. He said, there's no debate about who was the best player in that team. We know it was Kevin Durant. Steph knows it. Steph knows it was Kevin Durant. Draymond, deep down, he knows it was Kevin Durant. So those were CJ McCollum's comments about who he feels was the best player on that Warriors team during that run. Now, here are my thoughts, and I have many. So y'all want to sit down and make sure you get your popcorn for this. First of all, Stephen Curry was never a better basketball player than Kevin Durant. Even if he wins another ring, I still have KD above him. Some people think that's wrong. That's just my opinion. KD is just a better basketball player than Stephen Curry. We need to stop. Like, we have to stop it. And my opinion will not change. Some people disagree. That is up to you. That is your opinion. Everybody has a right to their opinion. However, here is my larger takeaway from all of this, and I think is a serious one, and I want you guys to hear me out on this one. If you listen to Draymond Green in that soundbite, he spoke about the new media, right? He spoke about the new media, and he basically said, I've discovered that a lot of you guys really don't understand basketball at a deep level, where he basically says, what Draymond Green is basically saying is that only former or current NBA players should be allowed to talk about basketball. I said at the time that was a very, very silly thing to say for a number of reasons, and I'm going to list them out to you. Here we have a situation where Draymond Green is a current NBA player, and there are 2 other current NBA players that totally disagree with his viewpoint, totally disagree with his opinion about the Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant thing. So here you have 2 players that are playing basketball just like you, and they totally agree with, and they totally disagree with you. And that means that, therefore, the statement of only NBA players should be able to talk about basketball, you need to take that and throw it in the toilet. Because you make it seem as if just because you played the game, therefore you can understand it at a level that in which whenever you say something, you're going to be 100% correct. But with all of your basketball knowledge, and I'm sure it's immense, obviously, you just had 2 guys disagree with you. So how can you saying that, we're the new man, we don't know about, but you just had 2 people totally disagree with you. What's going to be the next thing? You need to have rings in order to be qualified. Where is it heading? That's the first point. Secondly, here's my larger takeaway. Some athletes need to stop saying this. They need to stop saying this, because if that is going to be the case, if that's going to be the precedent that, because you play basketball, therefore I have the opinion to talk about basketball, then why are you making political statements when you're not a politician then? Last time I checked, the majority of these athletes are not political scientists. So why are you talking politics? Why are you talking politics then? When someone tells you stick to sports, you get extremely offended because you're like, wait a minute, there's more to me than just being an athlete. I can do other things too. So if you can do other things, why can't other people do other things? Why can't other people learn about basketball or learn about football or learn about baseball or learn about track and field or learn about the NFL and talk about it? Why would you say then that we are the gatekeepers now? Why would you say something like that? Why would you say? I think it's a very myopic view to have on this conversation. Give your opinion and allow others to give theirs. Simple. Just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean you will always say smart things. Don't confuse wealth with intelligence, folks. Don't. The 2 things, they're mutually exclusive. There's some people that make a lot of money that say a lot of ridiculous things. Period, end of story. Don't confuse the 2. Everyone has a right to their view when we're talking about sports. That includes the players, that includes the analysts, and that definitely includes the fans. I'm sorry. Fans have a right to have an opinion about basketball. It's up to you to say, listen, I disagree or I agree. But you don't need to be condescending about it. That's my point. That is my point. And here you have an instance where you have 2 players who are quite accomplished in their own right, basically disagreeing with you. And if you're going to say that, wait a minute, maybe this guy needs more rings. Who told you need more? You need to have more qualifications to talk about, but to disagree with me, bro, you ain't got the jewelry. Okay, cool. Then don't be upset when other people tell you to stay in your lane. because it goes two ways. It's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. So you got to be careful about what you say to people. You ain't perfect and you don't always have all the answers. Number one. And number two, stop making it seem as if people are incapable of learning other things. Stop making it seem you're not the gatekeeper of information and all of these things. People can sit down and study the sport. We've used examples. Some of the best GMs in basketball never play basketball. And some of the best coaches don't have an extensive background in coaching in basketball, like Greg Popovich, for example. Phil Jackson wasn't the Michael Jordan of basketball. But he became a hell of a coach because you can learn the game. You can think the game. What are we talking about here? So that's my larger takeaway. Stop trying to siphon off and decide who can talk basketball, because if you do that, don't complain when people tell you not to talk about politics and say, I'm more than an athlete. Well, people are more than what you think they are. And it's not nice going around telling people how dumb they sound about something just because you're doing it, because people could do it to you. People could do it to you, and people can ask you, why are you talking politics when you're not a political scientist? And you know how offensive that would be. That's exactly how you're coming off. These are my points and opinions. I know a lot of people are going to disagree, but I got to tell you exactly what I think, because I think this thing is going a little bit too far.